Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the National Committee on U.S. China Relations, Mr. Stephen Orleans.
The committee can control a lot. We obviously can't control the weather. Now I'm told, that is perfect timing. I'm told Secretary Kissinger has arrived, and Secretary Kissinger has arrived. In fact, join me in welcoming him. I know a number of guests have been delayed by the weather, but I think we should start this program right away. So Secretary Kissinger, Admiral Davidson, Ambassador Cui, Ma Huang, Hills, Brandt, Vice Chairman Greenberg, our honoree Chairman Fink, distinguished guests and friends, thank you all for joining us tonight. When we planned this event, I hoped we would be celebrating the 40th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations, the ending of 30 years of diplomatic estrangement between the United States and China, and the peace that we have had in Asia since that time. But instead, diplomatic relations are strained, and peace does not seem quite so assured. I'm reminded of one of Chairman Mao's famous quotes, which actually is the theme of my remarks tonight. 我们的同志在困难的时候，要看到成绩，要看到光明，要提供我们的勇气。Those who speak Chinese have applauded. Translates, in times of difficulty, look at our record, look at the bright side, and boost up our courage. It's easy to see why today it is times of difficulty. Among other things, the United States now has a national security strategy that considers China a strategic rival and revisionist power. Our national defense strategy states long-term strategic competition with China, as well as Russia, is the top priority of the Department of Defense. And this competition requires increased military spending because of the threat it poses to U.S. security and prosperity. In April, a report of the United States Trade Representative branded China an intellectual property thief. And just last month, Vice President Pence accused China of using a whole-of-government approach to interfere in the domestic politics and policies of the United States. On the Chinese side, the Chinese government continues to violate international law in its activities in the South China Sea. It has not removed tariff and non-tariff barriers that have existed far too long. It restricts investments in sectors that should be open. It has not done enough to stop the theft of American intellectual property. It does not allow Facebook, Google, Twitter, YouTube, the Wall Street Journal, or the New York Times to operate in China, and is sending thousands of Muslims to camps for re-education. The policies and actions of both of our governments are pulling us apart, not bringing us together. The relationship is indeed troubled. 看到成绩, look at our record. My predecessors, the staff of the National Committee, and many in this room have put the committee in a position where we can make a difference in the relationship that determines whether our children live in a peaceful and prosperous world. We have and we will continue to educate both sides about the pressing issues facing us today. The committee was founded during America's war in Vietnam and China's Cultural Revolution. From ping-pong diplomacy to hosting Mayor Zhu Rongji after the tragic events of June 4th, 1989, the committee has risen to the challenges posed by difficult time. Today, our congressional members and staff trips, our work with PACOM, our Public Intellectuals Program, our Next Generation Leadership initiatives, our 6 Track 2 dialogues on cutting-edge issues, and our public programs educate people on both sides of the Pacific. In the last 12 months, we have conducted 177 public programs, dialogues, and exchanges, including the 100 venues that hosted my interview of former Secretary Condoleezza Rice for Chinatown Hall. Our record is unassailable. Kandao Guanming, look at the bright side. Tonight, the bright light of hope still shines because in the end, it is the peoples of the United States and China who will determine the future of the U.S. China relationship. Those bonds remain strong. We share so much. We laugh together. We cry together. Mothers in Shanghai and mothers in New York have the same worries about their children's future. Because of them, because of you in this room, China and the United States must and will find ways to work together to confront the real threats of climate change, terrorism, pandemics, and economic crisis. Tonight, hope shines brightly because I am beyond thrilled to announce that thanks to every single person in this room, we have raised a new record for a National Committee on U.S. China Relations Gala. We have raised $2,352,000. Finally, 提供我们的勇气, boost up our courage. We must acknowledge that the atmosphere is dark, and there are people on both sides of the Pacific that do not like what we do, distort our work, and disagree with our mission to educate people on both sides of the Pacific. When all is said and done, education, science, and the contributions we make will prevail. The United States and China will work together to make this a safer, more sustainable, and prosperous world. The peoples of our two countries will demand it. My remarks began with the Chinese quote, so let me close with words from a Westerner, the famous anthropologist Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. But we can only change the world. We can only change the direction of U.S. China relations with the support of each and every one of you here tonight. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for contributing. The painter. 那个画家，刘刚。Where is Liu Gang? Behind me is a painting entitled Mount Tai, Reaching the Sky, created by the Dean of the Painting and Calligraphy Institute at the National Museum of China, Liu Gang. Mount Tai is the most sacred mountain in China and symbolizes permanence, which is perfect for BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager. Dean Liu has donated this painting to present to our honoree after dinner tonight. He has flown from Beijing to be here with us tonight. Please join me in welcoming him. It's all up there. This is the painting, but it's a little big. You know, we're already off script, which is unusual for the National Committee under Carla Hill's leadership, because we always stay right on time. But I'm going to deviate further from script, because when I watched the news on Sunday morning, I saw somebody we all know meeting with Xi Jinping, meeting with Liu He, meeting with Wang Qishan, and I knew he was coming to our dinner tonight. So he needs no introduction to all of you. So please join me in welcoming the 56th Secretary of State of the United States and the Executive Vice Chair of the National Committee, Henry Kissinger, to make a few remarks.
Steve and friends, I have been asked to say a few words, and if I follow this, you can all say you were present at a historic occasion. I've just returned from a visit to China early this week, and I had many opportunities to speak to Chinese leaders, and I've previously had, of course, many to speak to American leaders. I think we are now at a moment of fundamental importance in our relationship. It was inevitable that as the Chinese economy improved, that China would develop capabilities that altered the relations as they existed when I first had the opportunity to visit China. But the fundamental issue is not whether we can settle existing trade disputes. The fundamental issue is whether two great countries can live together in a new world for international politics. Namely, whether they can define a relationship to each other in which, of course, there will be disagreements, but in which the purpose of the enterprise is to go beyond the phrases of victory and defeat into a pattern in which we find that we emphasize the importance of better relations and the importance of coexistence. I think it can be done. It would be a unique departure in history. But the alternative is a period of tension, a period in which other countries are trying to benefit from a contest that cannot be won. And so I actually left China with great hope that a way will be found by which the immediate disputes will be overcome. A new pattern of economic relationship will emerge. And we are beyond that. China and the United States find a way to a dialogue in which they anticipate challenges and overcome them. I believe this is possible, and I have every hope that the leaders of both sides will act with the conviction that the practical problems before us are difficult, but that the opportunity before us is to create an international system for the first time in world history, in which peace and order are accepted by all the nations. Now, I have been known in my academic writings and in my public speeches as a realist. And therefore, I would like you to consider what I have said not an abstract dream, but a realistic assessment of what the world needs to achieve stability at a time when technology develops in a way that it becomes itself almost impossible to control. And this is why I'm happy to have this opportunity to talk to all of you. Because those of us in this group, we have been meeting for a long time. And we have seen crises, and we have seen solutions. But we have never given up our conviction that this is an essential contribution to world peace. When I first came to China nearly 50 years ago, I said to the Premier Zhou Enlai that to me, China is a mysterious country. And he replied, there are 900 million of us, and it's not mysterious to us. And when you get to know us better, it will not be mysterious to you. That's what all of us in this room have been working for, and that's what all of us in this room hope will be culminated in the talks between our leaders that will take place next week. Thank you very much.
Henry, thanks. Hello? Hello? Oh, you can hear me. Great. So how many people, well, first of all, thank you, Dr. Kissinger. It really, you've been with us explaining so much for so many years. Fantastic. Thank you so much. How many people here have seen Crazy Rich Asians? Put up your hands. A good number. When I watched it, it's a fabulous movie, and what was quite extraordinary is when I watched it, and I watched the jazz singer in it, I realized that the jazz singer, who's seated right there at table 20, was a young leader of the National Committee on U.S. China Relations. So I would like to invite her to kind of come on stage and sing for us this evening some of the pieces from Crazy Rich Asians.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, well, it's great to have you.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Tell me, how did you get involved with this movie?
Oh, wow.
I was stunned when I looked up and there you were singing these
Yes, there's quite
wonderful songs.
Oh, thank you. There's quite a story. I remember early last year, I received a message on my Facebook fan page and said, you know, I'm from this production company. We would like to invite you to be performing in this movie and recording the soundtrack. And I thought, okay, that's a spam, so I didn't reply. And then later on, after a few days, I received an email, say the same thing, but from a different person, and said, we have this movie called Crazy Rich Asians. What a name. It's a little bit, you know, crazy name. So I was like, okay, it's another thing, it's another one, and I ignored it for a few days. Until I realized, okay, I went back to see the email again, and the email is warnerbrothers.com. So I was like, okay, maybe I should reply this email and see what happened. So I replied, and you know, they tell me the details. They would like to invite you to performing in it and sing the soundtrack. And then, yeah, I went to the Malaysia, KL, to record to a film in the scene.
And the rest is history, this great hit with an all-Asian cast. But we look forward to hearing some of the music from the movie.
Yes,
so
I brought
join
some.
me in welcoming Jasmine Chen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. So the first song I'm gonna sing is actually an old song from Shanghai, 1940s. I also sang this song in the movie, and maybe some of you know this song is also from the U.S., 1940s. It was called 7 Lonely Days, and then brought over to Shanghai in the same era and fitting with Chinese lyric called Give Me a Kiss, 给我一个吻。接下来献给大家。给我一个吻，可以不可以？吻在我的脸上，留个爱标记。给我一个吻，可以不可以？吻在我的心上，让我想念你，总是瞪着你的眼睛，你不回应，我也要向你请求，绝不伤心。纵然闭着你的嘴唇，你不答
吻在我的心上，让我想念你。纵然瞪着你的眼睛，你不回应，我也要向你请求，绝不伤心。纵然闭着你的嘴唇，你不答应，我也要向你恳求，绝不伤心。嘿，给我一个吻，可以不可以？吻在我的脸上，留个爱标记。哎，给我一个吻，可以不可以？吻在我的心上，让我想念你，让我想念你，让我想念你。Thank you. Thank you very much. 谢谢. Okay, now I'm singing another song, a great American jazz standard called What a Difference a Day Made. What a difference a day made, 24 little hours, brought the sun and the flowers that there used to be rain. My yesterday was blue, dear. Today I'm a part of you, dear. My lonely nights are through, dear. Since you said you were mine, what a difference a day makes. There's a rainbow before me. Skies above can't be stormy. Since the moment of bliss, the thrilling kiss is heaven when you found romance on your menu. What a difference a day made, and the difference is you. My yesterday was blue, dear. Today I'm a part of you, dear. My lonely nights are through, dear. Since you said you were mine, what a difference a day makes. There's a rainbow before me. Skies above can't be stormy. Since the moment of bliss, the thrilling kiss is heaven when you found romance on your menu. What a difference a day made, and the difference is you. Whoa, what a difference a day made, and the difference is you. Thank you. Thank you very much. 谢谢. Okay, so I'm gonna sing one more song. This song is very special. If you've seen the movie Crazy Rich Asians, you'll recognize the song. It's also a very old Chinese jazz tune from the 1940s. And it's called 我要你的爱.
I Want Your Love. Remember the wedding party scene? But I have a request. I would like everybody in the room to sing this song together with me in Chinese. It's easy, I promise. So, okay, you just need to practice a little before we sing this, okay? So repeat after me. Ben, can you give me a note? Okay. 我 Very good. 我要你的 Great! You are great singers. Okay. Shall we do it together? I think you're doing well. Okay, let's do it. 我要你的爱 I want your love. Are you ready? 我要你的爱，你为什么不走过来？我要你，我要你的爱，你为什么不说出来 ？Listen to your mama and you never real bad. If anybody wonders, you can tell them what I said. It's the only thing I know is I never can forget you. Lying for you, baby, ever since the day I met you. I got you where I want you. I'm never gonna let you get away from me. Hear what I tell you, I'm the girl for you, so you better start to face it. If you ever lose my love, you know you never can replace it. It's time for you to start to give me some loving, carrying a torch for it's hotter than the oven. It's time for you to give me a little tender love. Baby, hold me tight and do what I tell you. 我要你，我要你的爱，你为什么不走过来？我要你，我要你的爱，你为什么不说出来？我爱你，我爱你 I'm the girl for you, so you better start to face it. If you ever lose my love, you know you never can replace it. It's time for you to start to give me some loving, carrying a torch for it's hotter than the oven. It's time for you to give me a little tender love. Baby, hold me tight and do what I tell you. 我要你说，只要说声爱，你为什么不肯说？ Thank you. You are wonderful. Thank you very much. Ben on the piano. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chair of the National Committee on U.S. China Relations, Ambassador Carla Hills.
Thank you so much. Good evening and welcome. Secretary Kissinger, Admiral Sway, Admirals, Admiral Davidson, ambassadors, diplomats, distinguished guests, friends all. It gives me great pleasure to tell you as chair of the National Committee how pleased I am to see each and every one of you in this room and to extend a warm welcome to you. I hope you've all enjoyed your dinner and the conversations at your table as much as I have. And I know you enjoyed Jasmine Chen's magnificent performance. As Steve mentioned, January 1 marks the 40th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the United States and China. And it is truly wonderful to have Secretary Kissinger here tonight, who launched that process in the early 1970s. In the intervening years, the National Committee has dedicated itself to building mutual understanding between the United States and China, believing that the two nations must work constructively together to solve tough challenges and to maintain peace and stability globally. But today's climate is poor. I confess that I am concerned. Differences have grown in recent years over a number of issues that divide our two nations and cry out for discussion at all levels, making our mission all the more important. I am pleased that at the end of this month, President Trump and President Xi will meet in Argentina at the fringes of the G20 meeting. Yet realistically, we all know that periodic high-level meetings alone will not be sufficient to rebuild a strong and productive relationship between our two great nations. As the Chinese proverb reminds, one beam, no matter how big, cannot support an entire house on its own. As chair of the National Committee, I have witnessed firsthand the important role that the committee's exchange programs and Track 2 dialogues have played and continue to play in supporting a constructive relationship between our two largest economies. And we could not do it without the support of so many in this room. And I want to express my enormous gratitude to our chairman-level donors. The Star Foundation and Hank Greenberg, chair, who is chair and CEO of CV Star, a company, not only supported tonight's dinner, but has provided throughout the year resources for so many of our key programs. And Larry Fink, founder and chairman and chief executive officer of BlackRock, our outstanding honoree, whom you will hear more about later, and whose friends and supporters fill this room, helped us to exceed our record for this year's gala. And we are joined by Perfect World, Sanofi, Akiko Yamazaki, Jerry Yang, Chubb, Tishman Speyer, Coal Energy and Resources, and General Atlantic. And I thank you, one and all, from the bottom of my heart. I also want to acknowledge with deep, deep appreciation our sponsors and leaders who are listed in your program. And last but not least, I want to express publicly my thanks to our outstanding president, Steve Orleans, our tireless Vice President, Jan Barris, wherever she is, our very able development manager, Nikki Zhou, and the wonderful, wonderful staff of the National Committee who labor day and night to further the mission of the National Committee, this splendid organization. And I also want to say how pleased I am to see Secretary Huang Ping, the new Secretary General, who just flew in from Beijing today and arrived this afternoon, but took the time to be with us. And tonight, we are fortunate indeed to have with us Ambassador Sui Tiankai, who has served as China's very able ambassador since 2013. We have been privileged. We have been privileged to know Ambassador Sui since 1987, when as a graduate student, he participated in our Scholars Orientation Program. And we got to know him even better when he served here in New York as chairman of Chinese mission served here in New York at the Chinese mission to the United Nations. And Ambassador Sui, thank you so much for taking the time and getting through the traffic to get here. And we very, very much look forward to your remarks. Please come forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Hills, for your very warm introduction. But I think I have to apologize to everybody first for arriving very late. I really got stuck in the traffic. But Mr. Greenberg told me he got stuck in the traffic even longer, but he still got here earlier than I did. So my sincere apologies. And now I have the great honor and privilege to present to you a message of congratulation from President Xi Jinping of China. And here is the message. Chair Gala Hills, President Steve Owens, National Committee on U.S. China Relations. On the occasion of the 2018 Gala Dinner of the National Committee on United States-China Relations, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the National Committee for its long-standing efforts in advancing China-U.S. relations, and my warm congratulations to American companies to be honored tonight. China-U.S. relations have gone through a remarkable journey and achieved historic progress over the past 4 decades since the establishment of diplomatic relations. Our relations have brought real benefits to our two peoples and contributed significantly to peace, stability, and prosperity of the world. All this shows that our two countries have far more common interests than differences, and cooperation is the only right choice for both sides. This year marks the 40th anniversary of China's reform and opening up. China will not stop its reform and will open itself even wider. China's development will bring more opportunities to the United States and other countries. China is ready to work with the United States to expand cooperation and achieve win-win outcome. The people of our two countries cherish a friendly sentiment toward each other, and all hope to see advancement in the bilateral relations. China-U.S. cooperation is what our people expect from us, as it serves our shared interests and the interests of the people of all countries. I hope that people from various sectors of our two countries will work together with firm belief and effective actions to advance the bilateral relations along the right track and deliver greater benefits to our two peoples and people of the world. Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China. Thank you. That is the end of the message from President Xi. But let me take this opportunity to add my own appreciation to the National Committee and my congratulations to Mr. Larry Fink and BlackRock for an award very well deserved. I also want to welcome my good colleague, China's new Consul General in New York, Mr. Huang Ping. Welcome to New York. But I will promise, with your presence here, I will come to New York City even more often. Well, this is not first time for me to present a message of congratulation from President Xi to the Gala Dinner of the National Committee. Every time I feel honored and privileged. But what makes today's event even more special and unique is the fact that we are having two important anniversaries. 40th anniversary of China's reform and opening up, and the 40th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and the United States. Over all these years, tremendous changes have taken place in both our countries and in the world at large. But our two peoples have succeeded in building a strong and growing relationship between the two great countries. And throughout all these years, and against the background of tremendous changes in the world, something has not changed and will never change, which is China's determination to pursue peaceful development. We will continue to do our best to meet the growing aspiration of our people for better life. This is our goal, and this is our only goal. And internationally, we'll continue to work with other countries, including the United States, to build a community of nations for a shared future. And of course, in this process, the United States will be, if not the most, as one of the most important partners for China. And this is fact. Nobody can deny it. But more recently, we are witnessing some questioning or even challenging to the very good foundation of our relationship that we have built together over the years. And we are even hearing accusations against China's intentions. I think that these questioning and accusations are based not on fact, perhaps on alternative fact. But I think that the real difference lies in people's mentality, their mindset, and the world outlook. If we allow ourselves to be misled by the outdated Cold War mentality and believe in a zero-sum game among great powers, then we might really face a new Cold War. But if we believe in the 21st century approach to great power relations, if we base ourselves on no conflict, no confrontation, mutual respect, and win-win outcome, and if we follow an approach emphasizing on coordination and cooperation, we will be able to build an even stronger and more comprehensive win-win relationship between our two great countries. So I think that's why we have the difference in the perceptions and in the prospects for the relationship. Maybe some people believe, or some people have obsessions of the so-called Iron Curtain. But we should focus on building 21st century Silk Road. Maybe some people are looking for competitors, adversaries, rivals all over the place. But we should concentrate on building strong partnerships. Maybe some people are appealing to the dark side of human nature. But what we should do is to let the better angels of our nature guide us. Unfortunately, in this process, we still have pioneers like Dr. Henry Kissinger, Mr. Morris Greenberg. We still have institutions like the National Committee. We are very fortunate to have you all with us all over these years. Going forward, let's continue to work together to build a strong and growing and win-win relationship between our two great countries, our two great peoples. And I will promise you that in the whole process, in all these joint efforts, I will be always on your side. And thank you very much again.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your thoughts. We now turn to the awards portion of our program, and I'm so pleased to invite to the podium the National Committee's Vice Chair, Evan Greenberg, who is Chairman and Chief Executive Officer at Chubb Limited. He will present this year's award to Laurence Fink, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of BlackRock, Inc., who will share with us his views. Evan, thank you for coming.
I'm not that tall. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Carla. It is my honor this evening to introduce our honoree, Larry Fink. Larry and I are friends and colleagues, and for me, this is a distinct pleasure. Larry is a builder and a visionary. I admire him as a leader for his personal and his professional accomplishments, and for his character. He has built BlackRock from nothing into one of the world's storied financial services institutions. Those of you who know Larry know that he speaks his mind freely and confidently, and it's not always to everyone's liking. He is not afraid to challenge conventional thinking and routinely urges CEOs to think long-term about their businesses and to consider the obligations we have as corporate citizens and our broad role in society. In a world today where an awful lot of time is spent by smart people observing what's wrong, Larry is a leader who tries to engage those around him with practical solutions. In a competitive world, America's future prosperity depends on getting its own house in order. Larry and I share the view that private sector leadership has an important role to play with the challenges facing our nation. We share a mutual interest in the importance of U.S. China relations. The U.S. China relationship, as you all know, is the most important bilateral relationship in the world. We're in an important moment where both countries are reassessing the relationship in a deep way, including what that means for our future and that of the rest of the world. In the area of trade and investment, the status quo is unsustainable. It's against our national interest. A results-oriented dialogue, the kind the National Committee stands for, is an important element of the path to resolution we seek. With that, I am delighted to present to all of you the National Committee on U.S. China Relations 2018 Gala honoree, Larry Fink.
Evan, thank you very much for that introduction. You are a friend. I respect what you have done also personally, professionally, and probably something that no one else in the room knows. Evan has really helped my body by providing me with the best muscle tissue therapist in the New York area. Thank you for that. More importantly, though, it is an honor, a deep honor, to receive this award and to join what a distinguished audience. And it's not news for anybody in this room that tensions between China and the U.S. are the highest they've been in most of our lifetimes, maybe our entire lifetimes, for some who are younger than me. But that is why I'm particularly grateful to be here tonight and to participate in forging closer relationships between our two great nations. Because our two great nations actually want the same thing. We both want safety, we want prosperity, we want opportunities for our children, for our families. And achieving those goals demands both countries' cooperation and collaboration. But most importantly, it requires both countries to listen to each other. Fundamentally, our fates are intertwined, and our shared economic growth does not just benefit Chinese or American societies, it is the essential component for our world, for global growth, for global prosperity. But as we work towards greater prosperity, we need to make sure in both countries that it's shared equally, both between our nations, but just as importantly, equally inside each nation. In the U.S. and Europe, people who have had investable capital at the time of the financial crisis have seen incredible benefits from the long-term bull market. But unfortunately, most people in Europe and the United States haven't enjoyed that same trajectory. And worse yet, many people in Europe and the United States have encountered stagnant wages, uncertainty about whether they have enough money, to live in dignity, to meet needs for the next paycheck. But more importantly, I believe the greatest problem we have is, do we have enough money for retirement? And I believe the populism that we are seeing in the world today, especially in the United States, is that fear by so many. Do I have enough savings so I could live in retirement in dignity? So this rise of inequality has truly rubbed salt in the wounds of so many and driving tremendous resentment, which I believe is naturally creating this nationalism. And we've seen a rise in nationalism, not just here, but we're seeing it rising in so many parts of the world. And just most recently, we're seeing evidence of that rising in so many of the countries of Europe. And I believe this is what leaders of countries are facing, and why the world today needs a stronger, more productive relationship between China and the U.S. than ever before. China's trajectory is obviously quite different. And the work China has done to lift millions out of poverty and build strong middle class is one of the great economic achievements of our lifetime. And when I am in China, I always congratulate the leaders for what an accomplishment. But we also know in China, there are many millions who are still living in poverty. And as the economy continues to modernize, which we're all facing in so many of the developed worlds, China will be facing many of the same social challenges that we are facing here in the United States and in Europe. We are continuing to see a rise of economic inequality. And all of us need to find ways of making it better for more. A key part of addressing these challenges will be the strengthening of the ability of Chinese citizens to invest in their future. BlackRock is proud to be a part of that process in China. Our purpose as a company is to help more people achieve a better financial future and plan for the long-term goals for their retirement. And we're eager to help continuing to build the asset management industry in China. BlackRock is an American company, and we're very proud that we're an American company. But we're also a Mexican company in Mexico. We're an Italian company in Italy. And we hope to be a strong company in China. And it is my expectations we will earn that license to operate in China to help China build its financial futures for more. In our advocacy on behalf of our clients, we encourage all companies to understand the unique needs of their stakeholders in every market they operate. This applies to American companies operating in China, and it also means that every Chinese company who's operating in the United States must show that they earn a license to operate in the United States. We need to be building stronger companies who have shared values, who are promoting national interests in both sides, but are building a deeper, broader commonality together. If we also emphasize the importance of taking a long-term approach to business, something that is particularly important more than ever before in the midst of the financial markets modernization. In China, rapid change, new wealth is colliding with the allure of the financial markets, which is still quite young and immature in China. And the risk in China as these markets grow can easily create a large component of short-termism, which would not be in anybody's interest. But recent capital markets and regulatory reforms in China are encouraging, and as they help lay the foundation for the Chinese households to invest for the future. And that is going to be vital. One of the main issues in China today, from our observation, that the Chinese actually save too much money. Now, the Chinese are saving such large pools of money because they're worried about their future. They don't have a confidence in their future. They're worried about healthcare needs. They're worried about their retirement needs. And the sooner that China develops its own long-term capital markets to create long-term assets to invest for the long-term needs of retirement, at that time, that's when the Chinese citizens will begin to saving less, because they'll have more confidence in their future. And with that confidence, they will consume more, and China will become less dependent on exports as companies develop, and much more dependent on domestic demand. The cultural attributions that have driven so much of the Chinese economic success, the capacity, or its capacity for long-term thinking, which when I visit China, when I meet the Chinese leadership, when I meet CEOs from China, I'm always amazed how well the leadership focuses on the long-term needs of China. Rarely do I hear about issues about the short-term zigs and zags. It is now imperative that the Chinese build a Chinese domestic capital markets to make that consistent with the long-term needs and the long-term values of China. This transition of building these long-term markets are not going to happen overnight. They're not going to happen just with its domestic companies. It is going to be happening with more international companies participating, offering advice. It will happen working together as partners. A key part of the financial market modernization will be bringing that gap closer, that gap of savings and investing. This process, in my mind, is an urgent one. Around the world, human beings are living longer. And living longer means a bigger responsibility, a more difficult responsibility. But if the systems and customs surrounding retirement investing is out of date, that fear will only get worse. So it is important that leadership in China, alongside leadership in America, begin to focus more about their citizens, their need for retirement, their need for a better, safer future. As I said, China is modernizing its financial markets in the midst of the global retirement challenge. So the benefits will be global as the Chinese citizens diversify in global capital markets and participate in the wonderful opportunities in long-term investing by investing in the world. Because of this perspective, China has the opportunity to provide important leadership as we work together to address this global challenge. Achieving these goals, of course, require close cooperation, close partnership, and that is why the work of this organization is truly more important than ever. It's not just that our economies are intertwined with each other, it's that we both have a shared impact in this world. A healthy and equitable and equal relationship between the United States and China is indispensable to global growth. Thank you for this award and the work that all of you do on behalf of our partnership between China and America. Thank you very much.
Larry, we thank you for bringing our program to a wonderful close, and we congratulate you on the award, and we're very proud of all you have accomplished. And I thank everyone in this room for joining us. I wish you well, and have a safe journey home. So let me simply say good night.